My name is Elizabeth Calderwood, and my capstone project is called Writing Laboratory Concluding Statements with Scientific Vocabulary. My problem statement is that 7th grade science students lack the ability to write evidence-based laboratory concluding statements that contain proper scientific vocabulary. The importance of this, especially in the science classroom, is that it helps to develop a deeper understanding of the concepts. It allows for knowledge transfer from short to long-term memory. And it also helps students to make connection between concepts that are taught in the classroom and the real world. Through my needs analysis, my stakeholders in this were identified as the current 7th graders and the current 7th grade science teachers. I also was able to identify that students in their 6th grade classroom were not truly asked to write concluding statements. They were asked to complete lab reports, but not have official concluding statements, and they were also not required to use evidence from their experiment or activity to support the answers that they had to come up with. Additionally, the students were not asked to use scientific vocabulary to help their explanations, or if they were required to write some kind of concluding statement, there was no vocabulary, or that they were not even responsible to learn scientific vocabulary. The teachers feel that the students were asked to use the scientific method for lab reports instead of using a true evidence-based conclusion writing lab report. The goals of this project are to teach students to write more effective lab report conclusions in order to show better understanding of science concepts. The individual objectives, our students will be able to explain the scientific concepts that are being investigated during the experiment. Students will be able to identify the vocabulary that applies to that lab concept. Students will be able to effectively write a lab report conclusion that contains the scientific vocabulary that was identified, and that students will be able to recall the definitions to the scientific vocabulary. Through my literature review, I determined that my theoretical framework is cognitive load theory. Cognitive load theory aims to decrease the amount of information that individuals are required to remember at one time. So through my research, I found that scaffolding instruction helps to reduce the cognitive load for individuals when they're being taught information. Additionally, I found a method called IMSCI for scaffolding, which was actually developed by a woman named Reed to help write for a specific audience. Peer review is also part of what I found to help students learn to write better. Students will write more efficiently or write better or put more effort in when they know that their peers are going to read what they have written. And the last part is direct vocabulary instruction. My instructional plan starts with obtaining an initial benchmark, so my students will write a concluding statement with just the support of a rubric and a checklist. No direct instruction. Once that's done, my instruction will take place in two parts. The first part will be the scaffolding for the concluding statement, starting with a teacher modeled concluding statement and ending with the students individually writing their statements with peer review. The second part, which will happen simultaneously, is vocabulary instruction. Most of the vocabulary instruction will happen through a website called Quizlet, and the students will be asked to use that vocabulary to create presentations or ThingLink for application and creativity. My evaluation tools at the conclusion of this project will be a formative evaluation in the form of a student survey, and will also be a summative evaluation in having the students write a final concluding statement independently. Thank you very much.